Interesting. I just got a note that says that my bit rate was changed to 5,800 something. Well, good morning.
What is it normally?
Oh, I think I had it set at 10,000.
What is it normally?
Let's see here. I hear it coming through on yours.
Yeah, I just had to mute it. Sorry about that.
All right. All right. For those who didn't already realize, Jeff is in the Zoom session. And I didn't make him start the show today, like I did last week. It is September 3rd, 2022, 11:01 a.m. at the moment. In the midst of a heat wave, for those of you who are watching this later and don't recollect that this is, what do they say, heat wave on all of California or Northern California or something like that?
Well, it's going clear over into Arizona and up through Wyoming. We were talking about that last night on Ken's.
Yeah.
Worst of it here is supposed to be Tuesday. I think it's supposed to get to 114 in Las Vegas on Tuesday. I haven't looked at the latest forecast.
I jumped in part way on Kerry Holzman's yesterday, and just instead of, usually I would go back at the using the DVR and try to catch up, but this time I just started right there because he was just starting work on that train computer. So I was going to say, so I never heard him say what the weather was there that day.
Yeah, that's a thing saying you were live on my phone.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, do you need to go deal with that now?
109 here today, 110 tomorrow, 112 Monday. My grandson has baseball games all 3 days, so I have to keep the kids hydrated.
Let's see. So I've got a report here from one of the participants on my text messaging that says evening good. So I'm going to put the watch down on the table because I've got at least one person who's using my text messaging now to let me know if there's issues going on with the live stream. I'm going to come back here to me and talk about what we're going to do today, or what my tentative plan is, and also catch up with chat, or go take a look at chat. I said hello to some people in chat already, in the chat room myself. Let's go see if there's anything else I need to interact with. All these in yellow was me saying hello to everybody, to the people that were there. So here's additional people: Parker Morse, Ryan Israel, Selden Bell, Rick Lakes. The names I'm skipping over, ones that I already said hello to in chat. And there's a conversation about the sport. I am not a sports person at all. I actually have tried to get interested at times in my life and just didn't work. Sorry. Florida 87, Speedy C, hello. Zavi Minor and Mac McCarthy. So hello to everybody. And yeah, Tony, well, I guess I might as well. Tony Wallow is using my text messaging. He's saying he's got some lagging going on. And last time he had that, it turned out to be his modem. So is anyone else reporting lagging? Now I'm presuming what he means by that is hesitations or jumpiness in the video. Because as far as latency, that's something you're not going to be able to see. I could demonstrate the latency by putting up the number 1 on my finger and then showing you the video and see how many seconds. There it is. It's just like 6 seconds. That's pretty quick. That's ultra low latency.
I don't see any spinning circle or anything on my YouTube.
Yeah. So yeah. So what I'm drinking is the second bottle of these that I showed up at the cabin, and that one that I drank while I was up at the cabin and didn't seem very impressed with, it kind of grew on me. This one I like even better. It's dark chocolate brownie. That little ring that you're hearing in the background, that's what I hear on my cell phone when a text message comes in, if I have the watch on the table. If I'm wearing the watch, it vibrates, and I don't notice that during a live stream. Okay. Did I get all the way up to date
Yeah,
on
everybody's
chat?
saying no lagging.
Okay. Oh, where was I at? Yeah, Tony said AV DVR good in the chat room. There's Mac McCarthy's where I was at. Singoat, no lagging. Dennis, see my early comment about OBS went bye-bye. It's updated. Yeah, your earlier comment, Dennis, I saw it in the YouTube studio, but when I opened my monitoring window, it wasn't there. Now I think I can go back and show that though, because that's an interesting point for those that are YouTube live streamers. Video and audio good, fine upstate, not lagging. Okay, so if I come over here to the actual live stream and scroll up to the top, yeah, here's Dennis's original chat message about his OBS upgraded to version 28. So if I have trouble later, that's probably why. Initial tests seem promising. I recently had trouble on my Fortnite live stream where my intention it has my picture-in-picture when I'm in the game, where it's virtual background of nothing, so it's just me kind of floating in the air, and that I was using XSplit's virtual camera in OBS, and that had been working fine until that piece of software did an update, and then that broke that functionality in OBS. Now XSplit is telling me there's an update for it when I launch it. Well, I launched it this morning, said no, you're not doing an update on me today. I'll do that another day. Maybe I'll do that Sunday and test it.
XSplit and OBS are similar kinds of software, aren't they?
They are, but they are different. They have some significant differences, and I am intentionally using both of them. I use XSplit on Live Windows Training, and I use Streamlabs OBS Prime on my Fortnite channel. Now, for those who don't know, there's an OBS public domain freeware.
Yep.
And then there's the company Streamlabs that have their own flavor of OBS, where they took that, as I understand, they took that free OBS and did some modifications to it, and then they have their free version of OBS, and then they have a paid version of OBS. So that's Streamlabs OBS Prime. The word Prime means it's a paid version.
Now they do offer a separate free version I see here.
Yes. And it's a little bit
the original OBS or
no, they've I believe that they have modified it somewhat from the freeware public domain OBS. I don't know what to call it, but it's open. Oh, come on, there's a word for that when
open source.
Open source, yeah, that's it.
I'm looking at their source thing on GitHub. It says free and open source streaming software built on OBS and Electron, whatever Electron is. It's another library thing, I assume.
I have not researched very deeply what they do or what Streamlabs did to OBS to make it Streamlabs OBS. But I jumped right to the paid version. I read through some of their literature about what it does for you, and the one thing that I particularly was attracted to, and Ken Stout has told me that he can do this in the version of OBS that he has, but I think he has to jump through more hoops to do it. With Streamlabs OBS Prime, I wanted to multi-stream to YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, and without messing with stream keys. So what happened is in OBS, I signed into OBS with my Google account, and then I added my Facebook account and Twitch account. When I put in my credentials through Streamlabs OBS Prime, and it handles all the stream key stuff. I didn't have to do any other configuration. I just said I want to send to this platform, this platform, and this platform, and it just does it. So that's what I think the value is that I got with Streamlabs OBS Prime.
Yeah,
All right.
Join Prime. It doesn't talk about cost. I guess you see that once you start to join.
Yeah, I think if you go to click on purchase or pay, that's when you find out what the terms are before you actually pay for it.
Yeah.
They do let you know how much it's going to be before you actually pay or before you're committed to it. All right, I'm going to go show the description for today's video to get onto the topics. I'm just picking my Zoom level here for it. Oh, by the way, the Zoom room is open for people who want to come in. Speak of the devil. I don't know who it was. Oh, it's Chris.
It's the devil from Georgia.
Yeah, isn't that a song?
Yeah, devil went down to Georgia.
Yeah.
I think it's an old time country.
Yeah.
Bluegrass guy, actually. It's not quite the same as country. Hey, Chris.
Hey. Oh, boy, it sure feels like country to me. I think there's a pretty famous country artist that sing that, but I can't say who. I'm not good at that stuff. So anyway, here I got, well, hello, Chris. I didn't get in my hello.
Charlie.
So the top. Go ahead, Jeff.
Charlie Daniels Band. He's the one that did Devil Went Down to
all
Georgia.
right.
Sorry.
All right.
Let you go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to come back here. So I've got 5 topics proposed for today, and people in the chat room or in Zoom can request their favorite of these. We might get through all of them. Maybe, maybe not. So the first one, and these came to me from various sources, and I think some of these I saw come through Ken's channel too. YouTubers are getting hacked, video from Network Chuck, and do you need to care about that? Now, I kind of feel like there's a theme in these topics that I'm picking on, because there's a lot in here that was just sensationalism or clickbait, or you know what, that's not the whole story. Let's explain it deeper kind of thing. And not to knock any of these YouTubers, I respect them and they put out really great content. But on these subjects, I kind of like to explain a little more about it because I'm uncomfortable with the way they left it. ThioJoe's report about WPS and what's the actual risk and should you care, and then the issue of JPEG versus JPEG 2000 that I saw that come out on Ken's channel, and that was an interesting thing. I'd like to go a little bit deeper into that. Fresh Windows 11 Pro installation on Dell OptiPlex 7000. That's the new Dell 7000 that I unboxed last week and I was using up at the cabin. Why am I now wanting to do a fresh Windows 11 Pro install? Well, there's a story behind that. And then there's also this one, learnings about SpinRite and the reason why I'm not pursuing it now. And I did catch Ken making reference this to last night, and he kind of misunderstood it or misstated it. He seemed to give the impression, I thought, when he made reference to it, that I was giving up on SpinRite. No. What does the word now mean? At this time. Why I'm not pursuing it at this time. So, in chat, is there any of those topics you'd rather I start with? If not, I'll just start taking them in the order that I entered them.
I haven't heard about the first one. So
say again?
I hadn't heard about your number one, so.
All right. Well, that's the first comment that's been made, so let me go take that. Number one was what? Oh, YouTubers getting hacked video from Network Chuck. Do you need to care about that? Well, I have that open here. I think it's this one. Yeah, YouTubers are getting hacked was the name of his video. Well, right off the bat, I have to say, now, wait a minute. Was this really YouTubers plural? And were they actually getting hacked? What he handles in this video is this this person here, John Hammond. He didn't get hacked. He got phished, or social engineering attempt. If he followed through with it and clicked on the button they were wanting him to click on, he could have got hacked, but he did not get hacked. So I'm going to make this bigger. This was a social engineering and or you could call it phishing. And this is the second message that came up. I'm going to scrub back here a little bit. Looking to spot his first thing that came up. Was this it? Yeah, he got, this is the email that came to him, and it says Google account shared an item. Now, if you have if you're using Google Drive and you share an item from your Google Drive to somebody else, it will send an email to you. For instance, if I send you a file share from my Google Drive, you'll get a message here, DougBetts shared an item. But in this case, this is coming from a user who has entered their first name as Google, their last name as account. If you're familiar with how Google account shares work, you would have recognized that right off the bat. And John Hammond did. So Google account, which should say DougBetts or Joe Fisherman, and this Gmail address, that's not an official Google address, has shared the following item. Now, because this person shared this through their Google Drive, the email address that the email comes from is at google.com, a no reply at google.com. That kind of sounds legit, but it's not, because it's Drive shares, no reply from google.com. So it's the Google Drive sharing function that is sending this email, and it's identifying here this person with a first name of Google and a last name of account at this email address, which is just anything at gmail.com. And it says YouTube copyright report. That's the name of the PDF file that they're sharing. That's just what they named the file. There's nothing official about that. And they're wanting him to click on the open button to open that document and see what it is. Well, this guy, John Hammond, he works in cybersecurity. I believe his day job, at least in part, is pen testing. And on his channel, which I went and watched his video on this subject, he goes into great detail about the tools and methods that he used to research this. He clearly knows what he's doing. He's had some fascinating videos. Network Chuck does too, but he's a little more showman about it. This guy, Hammond, is very nuts and bolts technical. And I subscribe to his channel, and I'm going to be watching more of his content. But anyway, it goes on further. He winds up opening the document after he determines that it is safe for him to do so. And here's the document. Copyright infringement warning. And up here in the upper left, it says YouTube. This looks legit. This looks official. It says, hello, John Hammond. Addressed personally to him. Moderation will review these complaints in the near term, and if confirmed, your videos will be removed and your channel will get a strike. Well, that's every YouTuber's nightmare, getting a strike. We're still evaluating, is this legit? Is this a legit document or not? Upon reaching 3 strikes, your channel will be blocked without the possibility of appeal. We know that to be true. That is YouTube's policy. You have asked us to delete the clips. Really? Wait a minute. John Hammond has to react to this. They're saying you have asked us to delete the clips. He says, no, that's not true. And prevent you from downloading copies in the future. Well, wait a minute. Why would you ever download copies of your own content? We will notify you by email when the request is fulfilled. This paragraph is totally not in keeping with these prior 2 paragraphs. Video title. This is a legitimate title of one of his videos. So somebody has gone to the effort of tailoring this hoax to John Hammond. And this link is legit to that video. And the applicant, WMG, is implying the party who is claiming the copyright infringement. Possible causes. Your video may contain copyrighted content. And it did not. It was all his original recording on camera. Copyright holders can block YouTube videos that contain their content. Read the full report in the document at the link below. If you do not read the report in this case, you cannot appeal the moderation decision. All right. He goes on further. And let's see. I'm not sure in this video if I have more of his stuff. But the bottom line, and what I wanted to point out here, all right, let me be sidetracked here a little bit. Nah, I don't need to go through any more of that.
Now, which one of these guys is which? I see two photos there.
Yeah, this is Network Chuck in the bottom left. I've followed his channel for a long time. He puts out great content, but he is primarily a YouTuber. And he is actively learning more about hacking and passing those lessons on to his audience as he goes. He has a very successful YouTube channel. Let's see, that's the way they changed this format. They know I don't see his, oh, there it is, 2.45 million subscribers. John Hammond is somewhere around under 300,000 subscribers. But I'm definitely, he gets more into nuts and bolts, and he gets into showing some tools that I can actually make use of myself. Network Chuck does also, but he's way more dramatic and showmanship than John is. John is more like a real working technician. After hours, he comes home from his day job and occasionally puts up a video. Really what I want to get at here, this was not YouTubers en masse getting hacked. That's what this title kind of causes a sensationalism. Oh no, YouTubers everywhere are getting hacked. No, this is an example of a single phishing attempt. You could call it a scam attempt. It was an email sent wanting to click on a button in the email. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Now, one of my objections in some of these things that I'm showing today is making blanket statements like that. Don't ever do it. Well, that's not true. There are sometimes you do need to click a link or a button in an email that is sent to you. For example, you're trying to reset the password on a particular account, and they tell you that they're going to send you an email, and you have to click on that link to complete that password change. If you don't do that, you're not going to complete the password change. The difference between clicking on a link in that email and something like this is that you were expecting that email. And so you know that that is legit. If you were to receive an email saying you have requested to change your password, click on the link here to complete that, but you did not request a password change, don't click, don't click. That is probably a phishing attempt trying to get you to click on the link because you're thinking, oh my gosh, no, I didn't do that. What's going on here? So you click on it to go figure out what's going on. And then they're going to ask you to log in with your current credentials, which is the scammer controlling that web page where you're about to enter your credentials. Don't do that. What you can do instead is go to the website for that account by browsing to it with if you have a password manager, use that to get there, or type in their web address, or if you have a bookmark in your browser, click on that. Don't get there by clicking on the link. The whole message, in my estimation, behind this video is don't click on links in emails that you weren't expecting and did not request. There's so many different clever ways that they are trying to get you to do that these days. Well, let's go say hello to somebody. Push Zoom number 4. Hello, Ken. slowly looks up and
I gotta unmute my mic. I heard you.
All right.
I could. Hi, Doug. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Chris.
Hello, welcome aboard. Did you have
Later
any comments?
Later on, I've got a YouTube question for you. We can make that number 7 if you'd like, because
Sure.
I inadvertently scheduled a stream for Monday, but forgot to change the date to Monday. It was today. Can I change that somehow, or do I have to delete and start over?
Yeah. No, you know what? That's so easy to do. Let's just do it right now.
Oh, that's the one I was waiting for this morning. It didn't happen.
Hi. Yes, I know. I've been bombarded
Well,
with text.
I figured. I said, boy, he's doing DaVinci on Saturdays now.
I actually did do DaVinci, but I was not going to stream it.
Let's see. I'm in YouTube Studio here. This stream is running currently. I haven't actually tried creating a calendared item while I'm actually streaming. Not totally sure that I can. Oh, yes, I can. All right. So here, I think. So we'll see if I'm going to learn this as we go here. So here I'm in the YouTube studio. This is the YouTube video that we're live streaming right now. I'm going to click this left arrow to go back to manage. So here's this listing of scheduled streams. I'll come up here to schedule a stream. I want to do this. I'm going to be doing this stream that I'm about to schedule in my streaming software rather than from a mobile device. So I'm choosing streaming software. And then let's go ahead and schedule Windows Daily 47. So I'm going to say reuse the settings for that. And I'll change the number. I don't know what that subject is going to be, but new subject. And then I'm going to schedule it for the wrong date accidentally. About to see me do something accidentally on purpose. Click the next button and I'll turn monetization on. Click done and then click next. And then I can put in a redirect here if somebody's got something for me to redirect to. And there is a September 5th. Was that the one you did for the wrong date? Or this one? September 3rd or September 5th? It doesn't matter here. I'll just go ahead and click on this one. And I didn't really need to do a redirect to demonstrate this. But here I want to get down to here, and I'm going to schedule it intentionally for the wrong date. So I'm scheduling my live stream for the next Windows Daily. And let's say, should I do a stream on Monday? It's a holiday. Or should I take that off?
Take it off. I'll fill in for you.
Really?
No,
I don't know.
Really.
I think I'm going to do a stream because maybe there's other people available to join the stream that are not normally available. So I'm going to do it incorrectly for Tuesday, and I'll say that that's 9 a.m. and then click done.
Right, and that's what I did. I got the right time, wrong date.
Right time, wrong date. Okay, so now here it is waiting to run. I don't have to stay in this screen. I can go back. I could close this whole tab. That item is still scheduled. But I want to now change the date of this scheduled item. So I'll just I'm here on the list of scheduled streams. Click on that one and come up here to edit. Duplicate stream key because I'm streaming right now, I think. And I'll come down to, let's see, customization, monetization. All right, famous last words. Scheduled for right here.
Customization, who would have thought?
Yeah, but that didn't work. I thought that was a place to do it. If we don't have a next, oh, here it is, right here. It's on details. Shows the date right here. I'll wait for the latency to catch up. Do you see it, Ken?
I'm following along as you're doing it. I'm doing it.
And actually, you're seeing it in Zoom. You're seeing my
Correct.
screen live on Zoom.
Yeah.
All right. So then here's the date. I'll just do the drop down for that date and pick a different date, and then click save. Bada boom,
Got
bada
it.
bing.
Yeah, I couldn't find that to save my life this morning.
And I'm just going to ignore this duplicate stream key because that'll go away after I finish this stream. Okay.
Now I can close this and it'll be there when I go
Oh,
back
yeah.
into YouTube. Okay.
Absolutely. I can close this right now. It doesn't stop my stream. Then I can go back over here to my, well, I'm already in YouTube Studio. I can come up here to create and then go live. And that gets me into the live studio. Even if I'm not going live right now, but I have a live stream running right now, I can go back in here and reopen this. This panel does not have to stay open. Not for a scheduled stream, not for a current stream.
Okay.
We have 28 current viewers, 42 views, 15 likes. All right, then back at my list. I finished about Network Chuck. Was there one of these others that somebody requested? I don't think so. Let me go back and look at chat, see if somebody requested a particular topic. Williams, video and audio, good. Looking for question marks in orange and kind of glancing at items here. Delay 10 minutes, please. What?
Yeah, I was listening in the car and I wanted you to delay 10 minutes so I could actually be on point and right with you, but we're good.
Oh, all right. Dennis, I would join the Zoom session, but they are at it again upstairs with 2 jackhammers instead of 1. Yeah, that was happening during our Fortnite play yesterday. Mark Rasinovich noted the awesome live sysinternals debugging session by John Hammond. Yeah, John Hammond demonstrated he was using sysinternals for his work on that issue, and he presented a new thing that I wasn't aware of, was a technique for downloading the specific sysinternals item that you want with a direct URL. That I like that. I need to go back and do that. And I've kind of become persuaded, instead of keeping my own tools folder, you know, where they sometimes go out of date, is just go get the current tool each time from the right site. That way I keep more fresh on how to download from those sites, and I don't get rusty on it because they're all a little bit different. Costanza the Mage, Network Chuck does a lot of clickbait videos. He's also all over the place. You have to learn this, that right now. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. It's everything is right now. You have to do this right now. You have to do this right now. My gosh, I don't have that much time in my life, Chuck. Yeah, and that's kind of the showmanship drama that he has. Watch this. Found it weird that the anti-hacker doesn't know SCR screensaver, not screenshot. Oh, was he calling that screenshot? I guess you're implying? Yeah, because screensavers have for a long time had an extension of SCR. And I do remember when he was saying that, he seemed like that he wasn't really very aware of that. Can someone put his YouTube in the chat, please? Here you go. So that is Network Chuck right there. Jim Browning got fished as well, which may have been a targeted attack. Yes, I think both of them were targeted attacks. And I think when YouTubers, quote unquote, are getting attacked, I think they are targeted towards the really big channels. I think it's probably not happening so much on smaller channels, because they do, both Jim Browning's and this one, somebody put some effort into specifically targeting them, but not nearly as good as, do I dare say, not nearly as good as I could have, because they still had some serious grammar problems and sentence structure problems. Obviously not English as a first language. Suddenly your voice was decreased, meaning mine? Yeah, because the question marks are addressed to me. Looking at my audio meter, it's bouncing into the yellow. All right, all caught up there. I think probably there's been some new names shown up that I haven't specifically said hello to. The Bronx, Rand, not my favorite choice, but sys internal tools are also available via Microsoft Store, and that way it can be auto updated. Yeah, but the thing is that typically when I want to use it, it's on a different computer. I'm not always on the same computer, so I'm more likely to download it from the Microsoft website rather than the store. Because the store, you're going to have to be signed in with a Microsoft account, and that's not always present on the computers that I work on. So pressing my Zoom number 5, say hello to Gary. Hello, Gary. I guess I need to give a little better heads up to see if people will unmute and say
I will
hello.
unmute.
Okay. How are you today?
I was actually reading the YouTube chat, and I had to find which one it was. But
oh, okay.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon to most everybody else.
All right. Did you have any question or subject to bring up, or just here?
No hot topics today. Well, okay. One, but no biggie yet. We'll talk later.
All right.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the list. ThioJoe's report about WPS. Let's go talk about that, because I did some digging on that and I'm kind of not real happy about the presentation. Oh, well, this is John Hammond's channel where he's talking about this hack, and he's calling it, he tried to hack me. Well, trying to hack him starts with that phishing email. I just have this inner sense that hacking means somebody's at a keyboard mouse using your IP address, or you're trying to get into your accounts with your trying to determine your credentials and such. But sending out a phishing email, I cringe at calling that hacking. It's the first step towards it, perhaps. And here, we're seeing his channel at 449,000 subscribers. And take a guess at his age. I went to look at how old of his videos are there. So I click on his channel icon here. Do that from here. Coming into here and go to his videos. Then over on the right-hand side, sort by date added oldest. So I want to see the oldest first. How long has he been uploading YouTube content, making YouTube content? 11 years ago. And I watched this. You can see the red line there that I watched part of it. He's still in high school at this point, and talking about his learnings in coding. So he's been around a long time, and started at a young age. What do I have next here? Okay, so here's ThioJoe, another YouTuber that I respect, I like. He puts out good content, but I never hear him talking about his real world clients. I think he's mostly a YouTuber. And, I don't know where his background and learnings are. Maybe it's somewhere on his channel, but I haven't seen it. I do like that he's using indexing in his videos. You can tell that by these broken up segments in his video. And if you scroll down, there's always these index lines in here. And Ken made a request for me to do a video about it. And really all you do is you type in 0:00 and then put some word next to it, press the enter key, type in another time increment, put in the description of that, press the enter key, put in another time increment. You don't have to do anything. YouTube will automatically sense that those are time increments, and it will break up your video that way. Very easy to do. When you're watching a video like this, you can use the control key with left and right arrow keys to jump between segments. So here I'm doing control left arrow. That goes back to the previous segment. Control right arrow to get back to the one that I'm wanting to show. This is the segment where he's talking about this issue. Now, if I were doing this video, I would label this as, it's this one down here, setting number 5. I would label this as WPS, disabled WPS, something like that, because that's what he's talking about here, is about that WPS is insecure and you should disable it. Well, at the beginning of this section, he says, everything I have read says that this is horribly insecure, but he doesn't give any references to what he's read. I don't know if he's read one article, and he doesn't explain anything about what is insecure about it. When I came across this, I didn't have any doubt that there are insecurities about it, but to just make the blanket statement that everybody should turn this off, I squirm at that. If everybody were to do that and turn off WPS, would we have a safer, more secure internet environment? Yes. Yes. But does everybody need to do that? Not so much. Does it harm you? Not unless you're using it. If you're using it, it can be a very useful tool. I think I've come across maybe a couple people that have mentioned that they use it. Now, he says during his video that nobody has ever told him that they're using it, but I don't know that that would come up in conversation. I've never had it come up in conversation. So let's go look further into this. WPS. Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, quick comment about ThioJoe. He's been around a long time, and you might want to be careful. One video he kept up for quite a while was how to edit headphones to your iPhone 7. Drill in the bottom with with an 1/8 inch drill, go up an inch, and you can put it up there, which drilled into the board of the cell phone and ruined it. Another one he had to secure your router was to cut the internet cable, or cut the coax cable going to your box. I don't know if you checked some of those out.
Yes, in his earlier YouTube career, he did do horribly
left them up.
Potentially harmful advice out there, just to as a fun thing. And I came across one of his videos where he talks about that and how he has changed from that. He's not going to do those prank videos anymore. So yeah, he's got prank videos at the beginning of his YouTube career that don't do that.
Unless if you didn't know though, you might have.
Yes, you could, because he doesn't let on. He doesn't let on that he's kidding.
Yes,
in those early videos. Yeah,
he went in the registry and said, don't do that.
But as with many of these YouTubers, they're primarily entertainers with informational content, and maybe sometimes aren't giving you the whole picture or the rest of the story. And what they're doing can be argued for and can be argued against. But I just came across a few things this week, and I just kind of felt that I needed to dig into this and kind of point these things out. And basically one of the things I'm saying is, don't buy everything you read and hear hook, line, and sinker. Question it, doubt it, say really, and go research a little bit, even the things that I say. And some people have caught me with misstating things and corrected me, and sometimes I actually learn something or get corrected because I did have a wrong impression. Anybody, no matter how experienced they are, can be wrong at times, and it's a significant point in your technical career when you realize that you don't need to feel diminished by that. I have a security expert that he operates at the level that CIA, FBI contacts him for special cases. Very highly qualified. He's been working with me on a particular client, and there has been times when I corrected him on things that he doesn't do every day. Everybody has a field of work that they specialize in. Just because you're a technician, computer technician, doesn't mean you know everything about computers. Just because you're a medical doctor doesn't mean you know everything about medical procedures in every area of the body. Just because you're an auto mechanic doesn't mean you know how to fix that particular problem on a particular car. There are, in every field of life, there are specialties, and you've gotten to a level of maturity in whatever you do when you cannot feel diminished when you stand corrected. Okay, get off that soapbox, Doug. Move on. Okay, so what I did is I went and Googled this. So I put in a Google, is WPS insecure? When I did this a few days ago, I went and looked at the first few links that I came across and started reading through them. And I said, okay, well, if ThioJoe were to read this stuff, and that's really what he was reporting on, I could see why he said the things that he said. But when I look at these, I see all kinds of holes and flaws in what they say in here. So I'm going to go dig into that a little bit. And just the fact that ThioJoe, that portion of that video is he said, everything I have read says such and such. Well, okay, well, what about your own personal technical knowledge? Are you only reporting on what you read? Again, I like ThioJoe. He puts out good content. He puts out good information. But everybody can have their shortcomings or be criticized, including me, including ThioJoe, Network Chuck, Kerry Holzman, Ken Stout. All of us stand to be criticized or complimented or grow, and don't feel like you always have to be right. It doesn't work that way. So here, disable Wi-Fi protected setup. This is the first Google search result, and it's from a website called passwordcoach.com. I've not heard of it before, but sounds like a security-oriented thing. So let's see what he says here. The rationale behind the creation of WPS was, well, actually, WPS, I believe that was Wi-Fi protected setup. And it's when you have a button on your internet router, you can press that and then choose an option on your Wi-Fi on your device, and it connects without having to type in a Wi-Fi password. The rationale behind the creation of WPS was to help non-technical folks quickly add devices onto their network without complex configuration. Whilst WPS does achieve this goal, WPS is horribly insecure. A router with WPS enabled is highly vulnerable. A successful attack on your router's WPS function will reveal your network password in a matter of hours, regardless of how strong that password is. Doug being too picky here. Regardless of how strong that password is. I could not possibly put out a web page without plenty of proofreading. Obviously meant regardless of how strong that password is. Again, there is no point putting a strong password on a weak network. Our next task is to disable WPS. Okay, so let's reveal your network password. There's no such thing. You could have a Wi-Fi password. You could have a server password. You could have a password on your Windows computer. You could have a password on your cell phone. There's nothing that's actually a network password. I think what he's saying there is a successful attack on your WPS function will reveal your Wi-Fi password.
Or your router password.
Pardon?
Maybe your router password he's looking for.
Well, and that's not a network password. That's a router password.
Agree.
A person might call it a network password, but a successful attack on the WPS function, all that's going to do is let you be connected to the wireless network. It's not going to display or show the router password. It's not even going to show the Wi-Fi password. All it's going to do is give you access to that Wi-Fi network. And in most cases, all that's going to give you is access to the internet, and you're using this person's internet. If there are devices on that network, such as a file server, it's going to have a whole separate set of credentials in order to access it. If you have a printer, a person who's connected to the Wi-Fi could send a print job to the printer. Okay. If you have any devices that have network shares on them that are not protected, that maybe are flagged as accessible to guests with no password, person could get into that. But that's not as successful as this sentence seems to be making you think. And it's going to take a matter of hours, by the way, in order to hack that WPS. In order to hack the WPS function, you have to be within Wi-Fi range. So they're going to have to be like in or near your house, in or near your business. Now, if you're in an apartment complex, they could be in the next apartment and access your WPS function. However, there's a button to press on your router, and that only lasts for a certain amount of time for you to try to hack that password. There's another article on one of these other web pages that indicates there's another way to get to utilize that WPS without pushing the button on the router. So here they go into how to disable your WPS router. There's more grammar issues in here. This one that's highlighted is the Google search result. You simply push the WPS button on the router, join the network, and you're in. Unfortunately, WPS is horribly insecure. It can be used as a means for attackers to gain access to your network. Now, one of the points that's made in one of these articles was that if you're in a business environment, somebody could walk up to your router and push the button, and then they go sit in a chair and try to hack it. Well, if they're going to get that close to your router to push the button, they could just take a picture of the label that's on the side of the router or on the bottom of the router that tells you the code. You don't need to hack the code if you can physically walk up to the router. It's on a label, and that code cannot be changed if it's a WPS. So then here's
they could cut your cable.
Say again?
Cause a lot more hassle. They could cut your cable and cause a lot more hassle than just getting on your network.
Yeah, they could cut your cable. They could connect to an Ethernet cable to gain access to your network.
I mean, even a small business should not have their router where somebody can walk into it.
True.
I mean, under the desk of the owner, maybe, but even that's not good.
Here's, let's see, with WPA with a strong password is secure as long as you disable WPS. You'll find this advice and guides to securing your Wi-Fi all over the web. Wi-Fi protected setup was a nice idea, but using it was a mistake. Now, rather than going through it and reading through all of this, because I did read through them all to see, is there something more to this that I don't understand? Now, in here, they talk about how much effort does it take for them to crack the 8-digit WPS pin, and they give us this scare tag, this scary piece of information down here. Let's see, where's this one? Yeah, it would take only 1157.4 days to crack that. You got to keep pushing that button to do that. Well, then they come up with some other explanations to get it down to 4 months, from 4 months to 3 hours. And they do get it down to 3 hours, but still got to push the button. If somebody wants to get into your Wi-Fi network that badly, there's other ways. There's other ways to do it. They're a whole lot simpler and less illegal. This is illegal. Accessing computer systems without authorization is a crime. And then they showed some tools for how to do that. But let me get down. Let me get down to this. Where is your vulnerability for WPS really? And none of these articles talked about this. Let's get a little more broader. Where is your vulnerability for Wi-Fi in your home? Let's suppose you have teenagers and you have disallowed their friends coming over to use your Wi-Fi for whatever reason. You don't want them using your Wi-Fi. Well, in that case, yeah, you should be disabling that. If your teenage children or college age, whatever, the point is if you've got kids over your house or strangers in your house, if you're the type of person that throws parties where you're having people come over. They might be like a Chamber of Commerce party at your house, or your office place, where you have people coming into your house that you don't know that well. What's the potential of them trying to gain access to your Wi-Fi and then poking around using tools such as Nmap and other tools to see what devices are discoverable on your network? And do you have any shared folders on your network? Do you have a Synology? Are they then going to try to hack into that? Is this party in your house large enough that somebody could be tinkering away on their laptop and you just assume they're doing whatever and might not be important to you? So if you've got people that you don't know very well, shouldn't be trusting, you wouldn't trust them to have free access to your house when you're not there. Let's put it that way. You don't know them well enough and trust them enough for them to be in your house when you're not there. Then you need to be sure you have your devices properly protected. And if the only thing you know about is WPS, that's not enough. You need to know more than that. Because there's a lot of low-level criminals out there that could be coming after you that way. I'm going to go take a look at chat. I feel like I've just kind of been talking off the top of my head for a while.
Hey, Doug?
Yes.
Let me interject something real quick here. In southeastern Michigan, we have two cable companies. One is called Huawei. I think it's Wild West or something. And the other one is Spectrum. And they default mesh routers to your last name and your phone number, the 10-digit phone number.
Oh, all right.
The password. Now, not everybody understands that you know, change that. And the thing is they set up your TV with the wireless because you're probably doing streaming, and maybe they show you to set up your laptop, and maybe you have 3 or 4 devices. And if you don't know what you're doing, let's say you do go change it on the mesh router yourself, now your TVs and your laptop don't work. Which is, I mean, you need to change it. Definitely, you need to change it. But the average home user doesn't realize it. You know, I agree with what you're saying with WPS. Don't get me wrong, but I can walk by my neighbor's house and it's like, oh, you have them. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the houses around me, we actually have like family room is real rock and the fireplace. My router's downstairs. I can't get Wi-Fi upstairs, so I don't even use Wi-Fi in the house. But you know, and half our houses have metal bracings instead of 2x4s. We got 2x4 metal. It's a Faraday cage, so your Wi-Fi doesn't even get outside of the house. But if you go to an older neighborhood, they're using last name and your phone number as password user ID. So
yeah, well, there's a lot of risk if you don't know some. I struggle to call it basics. I mean, it's almost like you need more than basics. Consider a possibility where somebody's got a default Wi-Fi setup in their home and stuff, and then they figured out how to do file sharing from one computer to another, and so they open a shared folder on their computer so they can transfer files easily across computers, and then, but those accounts aren't password protected. A lot of people with their home computers, they don't want to have a password on it. And they turn the computer on, it comes all the way up to the Windows desktop, which basically means a person who's connected on their Wi-Fi could use remote desktop, and all they got to figure out is what is the username on that computer, which is very easy to do when you go just click on the start button of that computer, highlight the profile icon, and see what the username is. If there's no password, you could connect remotely to that computer using remote desktop and have full access from another device on that network.
Well, Alexi in your kitchen recommends buying habits on what you bought, you know, depending upon what you bought at your age. You're single, you know. I was at my daughter's house and she's single, and I'm like, why'd you buy that? I mean, it wasn't anything that raunchy, but it was, you know, on dad. You know, her girlfriend probably wouldn't have said anything. It was a nice dress for her boyfriend, but it was no big deal. But, you know. Yeah. Do you want your neighbor, does your minister want his, you know, congregation to see that his wife is buying this or that? Nothing bad, but, you know, that minister doesn't go to church on Sunday. You know.
All right, let me get back here to chat. See if there's anything I need to catch up. I'm looking for question marks and oranges. Ken, is there an advantage to having 500 subs to have the community function asking for Joshi? Is there an advantage to having 500 subs? Is it 500 subscribers before you get the community function? I don't know that offhand. The community function, let's go look at that from, not there. I'll come over here, go to my YouTube profile icon and then choose YouTube Studio. And then come down to community. Where was it? Is it here? Yeah, community here. So you get these features in here. And that is where we get the thing about who people can redirect to my content. So on my other channel, I don't think I have that yet. Let me go to my, it's gonna mess me up somewhere. It might. Switch to Grandpa Doug Learns Fortnite and then go to YouTube Studio and then come down to settings. And I have community here. Oh, I know, it's the community tab that is missing. And oh, that's not in here. That's back on your channel. So go here to your channel and there's no community tab here. If I switch back to Live Windows Training, I think I'm saying this right. Still, nope, I didn't get to my channel. Let's go here and your channel. Yeah, here's community. So this is the community tab. So what do you get on this community tab? You get to send messages out to your community. I've done that a few times. You can do an image poll. I don't think this is a big deal. Ken, have I answered the question there? We're waiting for Ken to find his unmute button, if he's even listening. His mouth is moving, but I'm not hearing anything. I think he's probably talking to somebody else. All right, moving on.
He answered you in the YouTube chat.
Oh, he did? All right, I'll get to that. Kevin Stratford, ex-employee of Microsoft. I have watched his content and like him as well. I'm not sure what the question is there.
The spacebar function on mute was not working. And yes, that answers it. That was for Josh, not me. I'm happy where I'm sitting.
I did understand that.
Okay.
That you said, yeah, I was asking for Josh. William Dawson, I have disabled WPS. It is the weakest way to link a device WPA. One is break-in. One is a broken standard. WPA1 is a broken standard. WPA2 is what's being used by most people. WPA3 is the new standard coming. If you're a person who has awareness of these functions, I have no qualms about you doing what you choose to do. And at WPS, I haven't advised or suggested or trained any of my clients to use it. We don't typically have that on business routers that I've noticed. It hasn't been a subject that comes up. But the thing that I was squirming about, why I talk about this is the likelihood that anyone's going to be using that, and even if they're successful with that, what are they going to get to? I mean, I think there's a whole lot of other things that are much higher value to be talking about, particularly amongst non-technical people. And that primarily is, don't click buttons and links in emails that you weren't expecting. And I get frequent calls on that from my clients. Tell me they got something. Is this legit? And usually my answer to them is no, that's not legit. And I go check it out. Looking for question marks in orange. And Jim wanted me to let you know he cannot attend today. I did hear that. Thank you for that. Hello to Alan. That's not a question mark or orange, but he's on topic. I've seen quite a few sites call Wi-Fi networks just network. Some say devices have to be on the same Wi-Fi network, although just being on the same local network is sufficient. Now, in businesses, oftentimes you might go into a business and they'll just tell you what their Wi-Fi password is. They welcome you to use their Wi-Fi. Typically, that means that they have it segregated from their business network, and you won't be able to access any of their business equipment because you're on a different subnet. I don't see what anyone would gain by accessing my network. Now, a skilled criminal-minded hacker might be surprising what they might be able to gain by accessing your network. If they know vulnerabilities that are in Windows, there are, no matter how up to date you are, pen testers routinely, every time they do pen testing on a secure company, they find vulnerabilities. If a criminally minded hacker targets you, you're probably going to suffer consequences. And that's why we have to have multiple layers. If they gain access to your computer remotely, they go into your browser, will they find saved passwords in your browser? And is your browser not protected by a password? That's something that I've seen many times. In fact, sometimes it has salvaged us. A client calls me, or a new client calls me and says, I can't get into such and such account. We need to get this. That employee's no longer here. Can't figure out how to accomplish this. I go into that person's browser, who maybe is with the company or not with the company. Go into their password list. It asks for their Windows password, or maybe their PIN code. If you're using a Microsoft account, type that in and you can see all the passwords of all their accounts. And sometimes I've gone to staff members and shown them, look, you've been accessing some of your personal accounts here and letting your office computer remember the password. These are, and your neighboring coworker knows your password for your Windows computer. They can come in your browser and see all of your personal account passwords. Don't do that. Yeah. So anyway, you might be surprised at what a criminally minded hacker could find on your computer. I say trust everyone. Yeah, Gary.
You said, I know I keep throwing out, sorry. You said one thing about what a person might do with, let's say, a Wi-Fi. What I would be more concerned about, and I hate to say this, but any kind of pornographic terrorist type things coming through your Wi-Fi, even going to their computer.
Right.
That would be, yeah, because it's your home, you're controlling it now.
If they use the Wi-Fi in your home or your business to go out onto the internet and do some criminal activity, when the investigators with the government agencies that investigate those, which would be FBI and CIA, and there's some other letters that aren't coming to my mind right now, that investigate those and will track where that data went to. And if it went to the public IP address of your home network or your office network, you could have somebody knocking at your door asking some uncomfortable questions.
Or grabbing all your equipment to look at it for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, if I take your server for a week, you're out of business.
Yeah, they could come in with a search warrant to take your computers. Now, that's kind of extreme. I haven't heard of actual stories of that happening within, my
I haven't either,
contacts. Yeah,
person's gonna be the killer.
But this industry is still in its infancy. The next 10 and 20 years, that type of criminal activity is going to grow. Let's see, Mark Mark. Yeah, Mark. Sysinternals, Mark.
Rosen,
What's the last name?
Rusinovich or something? Rusinovich?
Yeah, Rusinovich. Mark Rusinovich. He has written, I think it's 4 books of computer hacking scenarios, and I'm halfway through the second one. Oh man, I tell you what, he's giving accurate, detailed information of what has been happening and is happening in a fictional setting.
Well, we've had some ransomware here in Detroit area, businesses that I personally know that have paid the ransom and haven't got their data back.
Yeah.
So now you don't even know. I mean, this sounds bad, but you don't know who the good ransomware people or the bad ones. I mean,
yeah,
you pay your money and you take your chances.
Yeah.
So
there was a period of time where the ransomware criminals were putting out there that they will honor the payment of ransoms, and there was a ransomware wholesaler that was enforcing that policy amongst their clients, who were the criminals that were actually in first point of contact with the ransomware victims. That was stuff that was reported on by Steve Gibson and others. It was
honor among thieves.
Yeah, it was honor from the thieves towards the public in the ransomware industry, and it is an industry, and there are wholesalers that provide the ransomware software to the criminals who are actually going to distribute it, and for a fee they get to use that ransomware for their own ransomware instances. All right, let's move on. WPS can be found by a person using a program generating serial 6 numbers match your WPS key just a house away. I know of a person who set up a new router without any password setting it as open. Yeah, that's a thing. Dennis's temp inside his new apartment, 88.9. Yikes. It was for Joshi, yeah. Selden, some people would rather use their neighbor's Wi-Fi instead of paying for their own. Yeah, I've come across that. Someone may use your network to do damage to others on the network by using your IP address to hide who is doing it. Yeah. Oh, when I walk through my neighborhood with my cell phone, walk around my neighborhood, I have Comcast, and Comcast has a service where if you are in range of any Comcast router and you have your Wi-Fi credentials put in for your own Comcast account, it will automatically connect to the internet through that neighbor's router or any Comcast router that you're close enough. Now, it doesn't give you access to their internal network, but you're able by Comcast to make use of somebody else's internet service. Now, I don't know if there could be some vulnerabilities through that, where a criminal hacker type could gain access to the in-house network, but I suspect that's not the case. You forgot the RCMP in addition to FBI and CIA. Yeah, I didn't forget it. I don't know that acronym well enough to have remembered it. I can't even tell you what that stands for, but there are some other 4-letter agencies that are specifically internet security servicing. Chit chat, ransomware as a service. RAS, yeah, that's you can go onto the dark web, quote unquote, using a Tor browser to get to essentially what look and feel like websites, but they're not going to show up in a Google search. And you can go purchase or rent ransomware and then implement it. Don't try it. because you're not smart enough on the because you are vulnerable. If you go try to rent that or purchase that and you're not putting in the protections on your computer, first you're going to be using Linux, you're going to be using VPN, you're going to probably be using a virtual PC to protect yourself, because once you contact these criminal entities, you might be a target yourself. Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Okay. Yeah, I had no idea that they had a division for cybersecurity, but just about everybody does now. Including the elementary school police down the street. No, they don't. They don't have elementary school police. All right, I'm caught up there in chat. What do we got now? An hour 15. All right. Let's go take a look at another topic.
The JPEG was next, I think.
Yeah. I saw this come up on the Ken Stout live channel. Oh, yeah. By the way, that host is here with us today. Oh, I didn't do any forwarding after live stream today. Ken, you do have something scheduled, don't you?
I've got two things scheduled, both for Monday.
A long ways off. I was thinking I might redirect to my own Fortnite later today. Oh, here's Dennis's. This is Fortnite later today on Dennis's channel. I'll go ahead and put in a redirect to that. Although I did have another idea on my mind what to redirect to. I might do another live stream myself before Dennis and me.
I should have one scheduled for tonight too, the nightly stream.
All right. JPEG versus JPEG versus JPEG 2000. JPEG files can have an extension of JPG or JPEG, and there's also a JPEG 2000 that was allegedly intended to supersede JPEG, but it was kind of like the VHS versus Beta. Beta was supposedly technically a better videotape format, but it just couldn't gain ground. It was too expensive to retool the whole industry to get people to switch over to Beta. And it looks to me like JPEG 2000 was probably a similar thing. And one of the links that was presented of a, not Wikipedia, but somethingpedia that gave information about that was the one that I thought had the most holes in it. But basically what happens when you do a Google search is you get responses that says JPG and JPEG is exactly the same format. I saw those responses over and over and over. But JPEG 2000 is both lossy and lossless compression. And what I'm thinking the word lossy there refers to as less loss of the image. I think
that's why they did the JPEG 2000, so you'd have an option, so you wouldn't lose information and still get some compression.
Yeah. Now, when Ken demonstrated that with the editing software that he's using, DaVinci Resolve, when he told it to save as JPEG 2000, it created tons and hundreds of files when he was trying to save a single image. So it's clear that that software is not properly handling that file format, and I would suspect that's because support for JPEG 2000 has just kind of fallen into the ether and not really supported.
Ken may know the answer to this. I was guessing that it was saving a separate JPEG 2000 image for each frame, and that's why so many frames were generated.
I didn't think it was a video.
I have no idea.
I didn't think it was a video that he was trying to save. Wasn't it a still image?
Well, he was trying to render a video, but he, if I remember right.
Oh yeah, well JPEG would be a
Well,
still.
correct me.
Is
It's
intended to
not
be
an-
still.
It was a still picture.
It was a still picture. Yeah, yeah, it was a still
Okay,
picture.
I thought you were trying.
Doesn't do any different on a video though. I ran through a long list of things yesterday,
Okay.
video, stills, all the different settings. It's pretty interesting. You can actually see it in Photoshop, but it's just the one image 702 times.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a video where they were making a separate image for each frame of the video. Okay, I misunderstood what you were trying to render.
The thing that I wanted to get at though is that the difference between JPEG and JPG, it has been said, and in these search results a lot, saying that they're exactly the same, and that JPEG was the file format was given to us for that because once we got past to a certain level of Windows, we were able to have more than 3 letters in the extension. And JPEG is, let's see if I go, what does JPG stand for? It tells us Joint Photograph Experts Group. So the implication here is that once we got the ability of having more than 3 letters in the extension, they just went ahead and used that extension in some cases, and it's exactly the same. But I take exception to that because it doesn't appear to be exactly the same. And I'm going to demonstrate something live that I have not tested yet and see what I get on this. So follow me on this little experiment. I'm going to come over to the Zoom window, the Zoom monitor, and I'm going to do Shift Windows S. That's for capturing a screenshot. I'm going to drag my frame over the image of that Zoom session, and then I'll come back to monitor 1 and go into Paint. Go into the Paint program and do Control V to paste. So here I'm pasting that image of that screenshot. Now if I come up here to File and Save As and choose JPEG, notice there I only had the choice of JPEG. However, on this line here, this is showing I can be doing JPG or JPEG or JPE or JFIF, whatever that is. Let me come to, where do I want to put this? Put this in, I'll go to desktop. And I'll call it Zoom test period JPG. I don't want to do it there. Where do I want to do it? I want it in a separate folder. I'm going to come down into my SW setup folder and create a new folder called JPG testing. There's the folder. So here I'm going to put it into this folder, Zoom test JPG, save that, and then come back to the file menu, do save as, and change that extension to JPEG. So now I have it saved both ways. Now if I bring up File Explorer, drag it over to that window so you can see it, come down to that folder, expand my C drive, click on SW Setup, here's that JPEG testing, and then if I display this, the files in this folder with their details, they're a different size. How are they exactly the same if they're a different size? Now, if I right-click on these and choose Properties, move this window over here, and then open Properties for this one, Alt-Tab to bring this one back up so I can see these two Properties windows side by side, 1005-15, 1005-674. So the size is a little bit different. Not much, Now, if I double click on either of these, that should open it, right? Yes, it opens it. If I double click on this one, it opens it. Now, how about if I change this, either one of these? This one, I'm going to change it to JPEG as part of the file name to identify that that was originally a JPEG, but then I'm going to change the extension. If you change the file name, extension may become unusable. Do you want to change it? Answering yes. Now, does it still open? I have not tested this. I do not know what's going to happen. This is going to help demonstrate. If it fails to open, then I'm saying absolutely, these are not the same. But if it does open, okay, they're different size, but boy, they're functionally the same. So double click that and it opens. Now the other one, can I do the same thing on the other way around? Now this is a Doug thing that I'm doing here, where I don't accept what I'm being told always. And I go hammer away at it and test things. JPEG. So now this one was originally JPG. I change it to JPEG. Does it open? And it does. So anyway, a little different size. I don't know what the difference is. All the Google search results that I took the time to go look at said that they were the same. Now, okay, so here's a question. It used to be JPG. Now we can have more letters in an extension. So I do JPEG. Why? What's the point? I don't get it. Why bother with doing that? There are other file types that have gone to 4 letters where it is different, such as Microsoft Word. We used to have .doc. Now we have .docx. Definitely not the same file. They are not interchangeable. So back on this. Back on this. Where was I going to? What was the rest of that? Oh, here. Yeah. Was it just because they wanted the word experts to be represented in the extension? Why try to get this across to everybody? JPEG, just because we can do 4 letters now. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe somewhere deeper in the Google searches, there's an answer to that, but I don't know where it is. Jose, hello to you. Why don't you unmute yourself and say hello to everybody? Waiting, waiting, waiting. This is basic twiddling your thumbs.
Greetings.
Oh, there he is. Oh, he unmuted and then went away real quick. Was that it? That's all we get. I guess, I don't know. I didn't pay enough to get more time from Jose. That's all we get.
Okay, fine. Hello, Doug.
Hello, Jose. If you're going to show up in Zoom, you got to at least say hello. All right, so this is twiddling thumbs. And if it takes a really long time, then more complicated ways to twiddling thumbs is have your inside thumb go the opposite direction as the outside thumb. See if you can do that. All right. Going back to something else. Anything else. Get me out of this hole. Chat room. That's good. Looking for question marks in orange. He was saving a video. Wintermute says it was a video, not a photo. All right. Well, that's a disagreement between those two. Dennis says, thanks for the future redirect. By the way, the guys knocked it off around 4 hours after they started today. Nothing anticipated tomorrow, which is their only day off during the week. He's referring to the construction crews making a lot of noise when he's doing live streams. 2 question marks. Maybe different default compression with different file type. I'm kind of thinking there's some difference in the compression that is still compatible enough that you can open them. Now, I was opening with Paint, and Paint, we know, can handle either of those 2 extensions. Some older programs might not be able to handle the 4-character extension. And actually, if you go to File Open on some older photo-oriented programs, they might be using a file name mask that has .jpg, and they won't even display files in that folder that have JPEG because those older programs don't know how to handle it. Wintermute says JPEG header contains the file name. The letter E adds one character to the size of the file. There's an explanation of the little difference in file size. Do I still have those panels open? So, of course, being a Doug, I'm going to go look at that. There's probably little other differences, technical differences between the files that accounts for the difference in size. It's not a 1 byte difference. 1 byte is 8 bits. So in order to give that one extra character, I would think that it would be 1 byte or maybe 2 bytes. But this is, let's see, 659 bytes difference, if I did that math right. So 600 some odd bytes. But that could be explained in other things that are contained in the headers. I'm going to let go of that now. Storage difference due to the number of characters, when me to it. If you look in regedit, you'll see that all extensions are handled the same. In the Windows registry, but older programs, such as if you have, and this is the case in Microsoft Word, for instance, I come across a client once in a while where some of their computers in their office still have Microsoft Word 2010. Some of them have the newer versions of Microsoft Word that has the DOCX. When one of their office staff members creates a new document, it gets saved with DOCX, and the other staff member tries to go to the folder to open that file, they cannot open the they don't even get to see it. If they go into File Explorer and double click on it to try to open it, they get an error message. It will not work.
And Doug, if they rename it, they cannot open it either.
Right.
It's a different file format.
It's a deal for file format for Microsoft Word. For JPEG, it may not be a different file format enough that it makes a difference, but it might in an older photo-oriented software. Comcast, who are they? I heard of Rogers. Comcast is a very large internet provider. Comcast. Now I can't even think of how to spell it. COMCAST, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Comcast. It's originally JPEG. The JPG extension was created for DOS Windows 95. When Windows started using 4 letters extensions, JPEG became available. So if it was originally JPEG, when DOS couldn't handle 4-letter extensions, who was using it? Was it Apple? Did that start in the Apple world? It couldn't originally be JPEG on DOS computers because they couldn't handle a 4-digit extension. Yeah, Comcast is a big one. Apple, okay, Apple always used JPEG. Okay, that would explain it then. I can buy that. It started in the Apple world as JPEG and then became adopted by the PC world. That makes sense. Thank you. Yesterday at 8 o'clock, it was very time consuming, especially when I went back for seconds. BH Ringer, very good. I like that one. HTML and HTML. Yeah, good point. HTML, I think started out as HTML and then at some point became HTML. Was currently, but that's not an extension, is it? All right. JPEG is more or less. JPEG name is more or less the name change of the USB port names over the years. What? Does anybody in Zoom understand that? JPEG name is more or less the name change of
I
the
think it's two
US.
sentences.
2 sentences? JPEG name is more or less.
Yes, yeah, one sentence. But I
Is
don't
more or
understand the
less.
second one.
The name change of the USB port names over the years. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, I see. He's saying the USB port names changed in a similar manner to JPEG and JPG.
I think you meant in Unix, though, possibly. That's what the answer below.
Yeah.
It's a USB meant Unix, I think.
Oh, is he explaining it below? All right.
Yeah.
LibreOffice, DOC and DOCX are handled differently, also visible in regedit, Unix, Linux. Yeah, I don't know how JPEG has anything to do with USB port names. I thought I heard a doorbell. Nobody else came in.
Chris went out and came back.
Ah, all right. I was wondering if that's what happened.
Not me, it was Jose.
Oh, what? Was it? Okay.
All right.
Somebody on the second line on mine. All right, sorry.
Okay, so number 4 and number 5 are kind of interconnected with each other a bit. So the Dell OptiPlex 7000 that I did an unboxing of last weekend and the initial setup, I need to do a fresh Windows 11 Pro install on that. Why? Well, that's kind of connected a little bit with my learnings from SpinRite and why I'm not pursuing it now, but I'm going to take them as separate topics. When I was up at the cabin, I had the intention of restoring the Windows 11 image on the Dell 7000. Remember, I had restored onto this computer the image from the HP all-in-one, and I tried doing live streaming of Fortnite from it, and the performance was really bad. So I wanted, and I speculated in one of the Windows dailies, I think, about what I could do to test whether that was due to restoring from the HP or not. And I thought I'd labeled out on my fingers all the things I was going to have to install, but later I realized, no, I don't have to do all that. I could just restore the original Windows 11 and then install Fortnite on it. No streaming software, nothing else, just try playing Fortnite on it. If it also performs poorly, then that just tells me the computer is not capable of performing well. If it performs well, then I could install just Streamlabs OBS Prime and try streaming with it with Fortnite. So I connected the external drive. I had taken it up to the cabin with me, and I went to restore the image. Ka-chink, 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 ka-chink. What does that mean?
Bad hard drive.
Yeah, the hard drive's going bad. Well, more specifically, when I looked at the health of it, it had some lost sectors. I could still see files on it. I could still do things with it, but I wasn't going to try to do a restore operation when it was behaving that way, because anything that I asked it to do took a long time to do, because it was trying to resolve those bad sectors. It was continually retrying, trying to fix them. So I think, aha, SpinRite. Yesterday morning in Windows Daily, I purchased SpinRite. And I told you that I have purchased it in the past, but I couldn't find my records on it. Well, I found my records on it. And I was wrong about having purchased it in the past. I have purchased it twice in the past. So yesterday was my third purchase. The way I found it is after I finished the live stream, I went to put it into the sensible, logical place where I would store that. So I'm going to go show you that. Come over here to resources folder. and I was going to create a folder called SpinRite. But I found that I already had a folder there called SpinRite and Rufus. I went into that folder. Now, it wasn't set up the same way that I have it now. What happened is the files for this October 17th, 2019 version of SpinRite was in this folder. So I thought, aha, I must have purchased it October 17th of 2019. And in those files, I had a file for the license and serial number. I'm not going to open that because that exposes the portion that I'm supposed to keep private. So I already had SpinRite. So now I have 2 paid versions of SpinRite. This one was September 2nd, 2022, and I put in a file in there for that serial number, and I downloaded their documents. So I have it twice. Well, that's not a problem. So then I tried using it for recovering this, trying to run it on this external hard drive. It's a 2 terabyte drive. And I went at it a few different ways, and I was getting similar results on different computers and different setups that was reporting to me, SpinRite was reporting to me that the drive size is different than what BIOS is reporting. Eventually, I came to recollect that back in history, when we got up to the 2 terabyte size, if I'm recalling correctly, we had BIOSes then that weren't quite handling that correctly. So the BIOSes were using a technique to misreport the size to the operating system so that the operating system could handle those drives. And I think my deduction at this point is that this particular drive is one of the drives that was requiring some kind of technique, even from a current BIOS, because I had the same results on Baby Bees, that was requiring the BIOS to report a different size than the actual drive geometry. And SpinRite was not able to handle that. The new version of SpinRite that is not available to the public yet, I know is capable of doing that because Steve Gibson has been very meticulous about wanting the new version to work across all hardware, all devices, and has put a lot of effort into that, but the new version is not available yet unless I get onto his beta testing program. If I get onto his beta testing program, then I'm obligated to report to him, and I'm not sure I want to go down that road. I'm hoping he'll get it out soon. So basically, the reason why that second item, or second of these 2 items, number 5, the reason why I'm not pursuing it now is because it won't work on this 2 terabyte drive. And in the community, the SpinRite community and the Google searches, I didn't really find it in the documentation. It only works up to 2 terabytes. That doesn't mean that it will work on every 2 terabyte drive, the 6.0 version, because clearly it's not. Now, it did give me the option to ignore that warning and go past it, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather wait for the product that I know will work with this drive. Now, whether it's going to solve this problem, I think it will, but I don't know that for sure, and I want to find out. One of the things that has come up in comments is, for instance, $300 data recovery, which I'm fully on board with him and what he does, and he is absolutely the right choice, especially when you have a hard drive that has the type of problem that SpinRite is not capable of doing. The only thing that SpinRite should be used for, in my understanding, is lost cluster problems, where you have portions of the hard drive that can't be read. Other portions are fine. And when you go into Crystal Disk Info, for instance, It gives you a whole list, and this is what happened on Ken Stout's channel when he looked at his 8 terabyte drive. He had a whole bunch of green check marks, but one red item or yellow item, whatever color it was for bad sectors or bad clusters, whatever they call it, reallocated clusters. I'm not sure what the verbiage was, but it is for that issue where there is a bad portion of the drive. All drives right out of the manufacturer have portions on them that are not going to be reliable, and they are flagged as not reliable on the drive itself. Your operating system will not try to use those areas. And there are portions of drives that are marginal, and they can degrade over time. They need to be flagged as unusable so the operating system does not try to use them. Until they get flagged as unusable, the operating system's still going to try to use them. And it's going to be reporting these reallocated clusters. What SpinRite does is, outside of a Windows operating system, it tries to recover the data from those bad clusters, put that data somewhere else, and then mark those clusters as bad. And the rest of the drive may be completely fine. If you try to use SpinRite simply because you can't access a drive, you don't know why, you don't know that it has reallocated clusters, you don't know what the problem is, and you try to use SpinRite on that, and then send it to $300 data recovery, bad idea. You should not have used SpinRite. The guy that runs that $300 recovery, he's been quoted as saying, if you're going to send a drive to me, do not use SpinRite on it first. He's absolutely correct about that. If you're going to send a drive to him, if the drive has the problem that SpinRite specializes in, then I'm absolutely fine with doing that. If you send a drive to him that only has a reallocated clusters problem or a problem with bad clusters, it's quite possible, I'm not saying this is the case, it's quite possible he might be using SpinRite to fix that. Because he did not tell you to not use SpinRite, that it's a bad product. The way he was quoted, I believe it's on Kerry Holzman's show and probably maybe other places. He said, if you're going to send a drive to me, he didn't stress the word if the way I did. Don't use SpinRite on it first. If you're going to send a drive to him and you use SpinRite on it first, that means SpinRite failed. That means the problem on that drive was not a SpinRite issue. It was not a lost sectors problem. I know I'm using those words, I'm mixing them up sometimes. Okay, that's my understanding of the situation. I want to try it and find out.
Where did you find the information about the new version of SpinRite? I looked all over his website and couldn't find anything.
Yeah, he doesn't have it on his website. The place I got the information for that is by hearing his updates on Security Now. Because on almost every episode of Security Now, he gives an update of where they're at with it.
Okay,
And
so that's the one with who, Leo Laporte?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I used to be very, very faithful to watching that every week. I am a member of the Twit Plus, which I actually pay money to support their shows, but I have not been watching Windows Weekly and Security Now for quite a while because I just had to find more time in my week to do things. So I catch it once in a while, but I've watched it for years. Now, that doesn't mean I buy everything that Steve or Leo says hook, line, and sinker, and that it goes for Windows Weekly too. But they are very, very credible, in my opinion, in their fields, and I take what they say very seriously. But sometimes I'll go research deeper into something they say and wind up concluding I don't quite agree with that. They would do the same thing towards me, though. And every person, no matter what platform they're on, no matter how high they are in their field, can be can be discovered to be wrong about some things or have some holes. Nobody's perfect in any industry.
To hear Steve explain it,
Yeah.
he explained that Windows, let's say Word, tries to read your document and says there's an error. Tries to read, let's say, just throwing out a number, not his, 3 times, says it can't read it. You run check this, it tries it 5 times to fix the sector. His goes multiple times past that to try to fix the sector. If it can't, it's still bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. And he's not doing it from within the Windows operating system.
Exactly.
The operating system that his product uses is called FreeDOS. So your computer is actually booting on DOS. And on the 6.0 version, you have to have legacy BIOS enabled. And this computer doesn't even have that capability. Enabling legacy and BIOS is not available on this new Dell 7000. It is available on Baby Beast. I start out using computers that I have upstairs flagged for recycling, because you don't need a powerful computer for his program. It's not storing a lot of stuff in memory. It's not trying to transfer high volumes of data back and forth to memory. It's mostly all you need is you need to have the drive with the version 6.0, the old version. You have to have the drive connected to an internal, connected to an internal SATA or internal IDE if it's a drive of that age, in order to use the program. But it's a very, very tiny program. The size of that download, let's see, let's go back over here. The SpinRite program over here, it's 170 kilobytes in size. That's the program. This file here is an ISO image for burning a CD. Very tricky to get it to work off a USB for that version. But the newer version is going to be far more flexible. So I had to come up with a way to burn a CD. And then it was, that CD was failing to boot for me on the recycle computer I was trying to use. So I tried burning it again. I tried going a few different ways, and I sent them an email asking for help. I got a response. I think I sent it towards the end of one afternoon, and I got a reply email the next day that had substantial content that was clearly not copy and paste. I mean, somebody, if they did copy and paste, they were doing it in sections, because they were clearly responding to me, trying to be helpful, but their help did not work. And it turned out the problem was that recycle computer I was using, it would boot to the CD, try to boot from the CD, and it was giving an error about command com not available. But when I took that same CD and put it into Baby Beast or this computer, it worked fine. So the ISO image was completely fine. It was the computer that I was trying to boot that CD into that was not working. How much have I done here? So now, so the reason why I have to do the fresh Windows 11 Pro on the OptiPlex 7000 is that it currently has the image of Windows 10 from the HP 34, and I've got to get back to Windows 11. I can't do it with the backup image that I have on that 2 terabyte drive because it is in a failing status and it runs so slowly anytime I try to do anything with it. So I'm better off just creating a Windows 11 flash drive install from Microsoft, and then install the Dell drivers. So that's not a big deal. My learnings about SpinRite was about the 2 terabyte limit. So the drive that Ken Stout sent me, it's 8 terabytes. That was never going to work with SpinRite 6.0 anyway. Steve Gibson has not given us a date when the new version is going to be ready because he just keeps fixing things. He finds more and more things to improve upon or fix. And basically his strategy seems to be, it'll be ready when it's ready. So I might wind up investigating getting into his beta tester program. That actually wouldn't be a bad thing. I kind of would like to get a connection to him. So I'm caught up there. Was that all I needed to say about SpinRite? Oh, one more thing about SpinRite. I'm going to grc.com. That's Gibson Research. And then come up here to SpinRite. What SpinRite, was it general information or what SpinRite does? Yeah, here. This right here. You click play here. And this is a really good explanation from Steve about what SpinRite does. And every critic that I have heard has been criticizing about uses that SpinRite is not intended for. It's not a file recovery. It's lost clusters, bad clusters on a drive. And for version 6.0, it's a spinning drive. The new version is going to be for solid state drives and NVMe drives, and they do have bad portions too. It's not magnetic media, it's electronic media. And when you go watch videos about how those how memory sticks and CPUs and solid state drives and NVMe drives, what they actually are physically at the atomic level. Steve makes the point about magnetic media is not digital, it's actually analog, and so is solid state. We store information digitally, but the actual media is analog because it is storing electrical charges in atoms, collection of atoms, and you need to have a certain level of electrical charge to be interpreted as a 1. Below that level, it's interpreted as a 0. And if there is a cell within that electronic media that is not holding its charge properly, then that equates essentially to a bad sector, lost cluster, a cell that's not retaining its charge. And so the new SpinRite is going to go after that. It's not going after reformatted drives or deleted files or corrupted files. It's going after media that is not holding its integrity. Somebody else came in. So let's see, that's going to be number 7. And that one I don't have adjusted yet. It's Darren. Hello, Darren. How are you today?
Okay, I just been listening to you. June or
Listen, you were about to say listening to you yammering away.
No, I didn't say that. You said that.
Yeah, I said you were about to say that.
I didn't say that.
I know you did. I'm just having fun.
No,
so now that I changed the size of this, I'm going to go save this presentation during a live stream so that I don't have to fix the size of that one again. Darren, did you have any questions or topics to bring to the table, or did you come in to hang out?
I thought I'd just come and talk to the end, see what's happening.
All right, very good. Thank you. I'm going to switch back over to chat, see what's going on there. Scrolling up. Question marks in orange. The header is different JPEG. Yeah, okay, so we went down that road. Is different JPEG have EXIF option, and the JPG do not have. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Not really asking for an explanation of it, but does make sense. There's other differences in the header, but the actual image format perhaps the same. I'm not sure about Windows 11. I'm kind of holding out for. I don't understand why you would be holding out for Windows 10. What are you not sure about Windows 11? If Windows 11 was so, if it was comparably bad as like Windows 8, I could understand staying away from it, but it's not that much different that I see. And how would you know that Windows 12 is going to be any better? Windows 12 might be like Windows 8. You don't know what Windows 12 is going to be. Now, okay, here, clicking sounds like a bad hard drive. Let me address that. When a drive is, you turn on and it's just click, 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 click. That's a different thing. That's a mechanical thing going on with the head. And you can't access anything on that drive. When there's a bad cluster that it's trying to resolve or trying to get to, it just keeps moving back and forth there, and it's a different kind of clicking noise, very audibly differently, and I audibly different. And I've heard both, and I know both noises very, very well. This clicking is not the defective head that needs to go to $300 data recovery, because he'll open it up and he'll replace the components in there to fix that. You can see here, demeanor. All right, let's go see what that is. Oh, these are the headers. Oh, he's actually posted actual image. I think he actually took these images himself. So he's actually showing the headers of these different files. So this one on the upper left is the JPEG, and on the right is JPG. And so up here I'm seeing 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8. Let's see, it's a little difficult to see. There's BS, BEL, BEL. Let's see, I'm just scanning over it here, trying to spot the differences. The highlighted items don't seem to be the differences. Are the non-highlighted items the differences? Does this scroll out further? There's a scroll bar. Now this is a one image of the two different images. I can't make any changes here. I'm struggling to spot the differences. I see ACD, ACD, I see AC DC2, DC2. I see EM sub. Just spot checking through this. I'm not seeing these as any different. Percent, ampersand, apostrophe, parenthesis, star, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, colon. Yeah, I'm not easily seeing the differences between those. Looking forward for other Javi comments. If I need to examine an HDD, I'm using HDD Regenerator. All right. I don't know of it. I'm very respectful of Javi's choice there. If you want to put in a link for that, I'll go take a closer look at it. Did you say the drive on the new OptiPlex? No, the drive that's bad was the external drive that I have the backup image, the original Windows 11 image from the OptiPlex. So the backup drive I can't restore. That's the drive that's bad, not the drive that's in the OptiPlex. BH Ringer, is an NDA required for beta testing SpinRite? I don't know. Certainly possible. Looking for question marks in orange. Yeah, there's the regenerator comment. Chris, burn a CD or DVD, put it over a fire. Let's see. SpinRite 6.0 released in 2004 does not know what SD is, but it will work on them if they are MBR. How much good damage it does, another question. I wouldn't want to do that. It might look like it's working, but it's designed for magnetic media. It does not know what an SSD, but it will work on them if they are MBR. Huh. It's hard to imagine how. Well, okay, I guess it could be trying to read from a certain address. If it can eventually read that data and store it somewhere else and then flag that portion as unusable so the operating system doesn't use it. I guess that's possible because I imagine his SpinRite is probably using hexadecimal addresses to address a specific location, and that it's not directly trying to manipulate the drive platters and the heads. So maybe. So SpinRite is supposed to add more life to drive, not a data recovery. That's a fair statement. It is not data recovery, except in the sense that a drive might have so much bad sectors that you can't even hardly use it. When I had I had to take that drive out of the drive enclosure. I don't have it here anymore. So I had to take it out of the drive enclosure, connect it directly to the SATA cables in the computer. And then when I start this computer up, the operating system starts with trying to repair that as the operating system is trying to start up. It tries to do some repair on it. It took this computer much, much longer, maybe 3 minutes to boot up to Windows, whereas normally it would be about 20 seconds to get to Windows, just because that troubled drive was connected. And then once Windows Desktop was up and open, clicking on anything took a long time before it would respond because the operating system is still trying to get that second drive to behave. Now, I could still access files on that drive, but it was very sluggish, very slow. So, if you can't get to any files on that drive because the operating system is so overwhelmed with trying to resolve that damaged portion of the drive, could you call it a data recovery program when it fixes that problem so you can now access the files on the drive without that horrible performance? So a person could inaccurately call it a data recovery program because now they can get to their data after doing that repair. But that's not technically what it's doing. It's technically trying to read the data from those unreliable portions of the hard drive and then flag those as unusable. It's not trying to fix those. It's not trying to make that portion of the drive usable. That's a lost cause. All this is doing is trying to get what was on that portion of the drive, put it somewhere safe, and then flag that area as not usable so the operating system no longer tries to do anything with that portion of the drive. Hard drives have always been that way. It's there, and silicon and memory chips and SSDs. It's called the silicon lottery in CPUs in the overclocking world. How much can you overclock your CPU? Well, a silicon lottery is involved. How good is the silicon on your chip? It varies from one chip to another. Same thing with drives. Back in the day, somebody, I think it was Gary, was talking about originally hard drives would come with a table of sectors that were unusable, and you had to manually go into the low-level formatting program and put in those addresses as being unusable. They were known by the manufacturer. And then eventually hard drives got to the point where they would come with those sectors already flagged as unusable so that the operating system never tries to use them. All right, coming back here, chat. There's people talking back and forth to each other, so I'm looking for question marks. Zvi, the first line is the header. That's where the difference is. Thank you, Zvi. Let's go back. The first line is the header. Well, up here I see BSBEL. Over here I see BSBEL. Is that what he means by the first line? If that's not, oh, maybe it's up here. Oh, that looked like a border to me. It's up here, this brown area. No DLE, JFIF, no SOH, NUL. So far they're the same. NUL, let's see, there's one, there's two, there's one. Ah, here's the difference. Oh, these are all shown in brown right here, EXIF, EXIF. And that's what he said earlier. It says EXIF here in the header for JPEG, and over here, those characters are not present. And then after that, we have no STX, SOH, and over here is different. So all of this is different. Yeah, so there. I thank you. Thank you very much, Zvi. That it's more than just a single character difference, but that the rest of this, is this the actual image? All of this content?
I'm sorry, Doug, to interrupt, but what he's showing at the top with the brown is
Yeah.
the scrub data from the directory itself, and that doesn't count in the file size. That's like the date saved, date created, time created. So if he saved them one right after another, the milliseconds are different. Remember, we don't go by time on computers. We go from a certain date and go forward.
Yeah.
Like on the boxes. So they're going to be.
But this is still contained in the file.
Well, yes and no. When it's saved on disk, it's saved at the header portion of the disk. The file is the data. So the data, what he's showing right there is the header of the file, not the header in the file.
Yes, understood.
So if you go to look at Windows Explorer, you'll see date created, date modified, date saved.
Right.
They're going to be different by a millisecond, and that's what the difference is showing up there.
Well,
so they are basically the same file as far as data is concerned.
Well, agreed for this data down here. And I think this data down here is the image.
Correct.
But this header up here, this
will be different.
will be different, and not just because it's at a different. I don't think it's because it's just at a different date, because this is lettering right here. This isn't a date code.
No, well, you're not, date codes don't show up numerically to your eyes. You have to convert them.
Right.
But what we could do is have him, since he's got this all set up, have him do an experiment, save the program as a JPEG or a JPEG to the same program or same image to two different directories. Then,
well, here I can demonstrate what you're describing.
Yeah, you're going to save it to this same name.
I'm going to save it at a different time. You said you were saying that the difference is that you're saving it at a different time.
It's the header difference, or
okay, all right. But what I'm saying is saving it at a different time should not make that kind of difference in the file size.
Well, I just saved two here, and they are the same file sizes for me.
You saved them in different formats.
Yep.
The JPG and the JPEG. Right.
Yep, and I actually took it from a peanut butter file, a GIF file, or GIF.
I'm gonna. Oh, you're using GIF. All right.
And then I just saved it as a JPEG and JPEG. So in other words, I took it in a different format, and they saved this name.
Now here I've changed these extensions back to what they originally were, and then I think I still have Paint open. I do. So if I save that again as a JPG, I could do either one. I'm going to do JPG, and then JPG later time. Now here I'm actually making the file name longer. That's probably not a good comparison test. If I do that, I'll just put a 2 there. So there in my theory, these two should be identical.
The image itself should be 100% identical. The header should be different.
Yeah.
There was a comment earlier that said that the file name is saved inside the image data. I don't remember who made it. And so in one case, you have an extra character. So that would make the file sizes different.
You would think it would make it.
When I did it, did not change the character size or the size of the image.
Were you actually saving it again, or?
Yes, 2 different names. Matter of fact, I actually named one the dog's name and one the kid's name because it was a picture I've used on my Zoom with my son and his dog.
Okay, well here, what this test did is kind of counterintuitive because I saved it again as a JPEG and added a single character to the file name. So theoretically, I would think that would make the file size bigger, but it actually came out smaller by that same number 659 characters smaller when I added one character. I'm ready to walk away from this. That did not come out the way that I was anticipating.
No.
EXIF is the metadata of the file. Yeah, that's. I would think that the JPEG would have more metadata capabilities. Well, no, I don't know that that's the case. No, I don't think so. Zabi is disagreeing with Gary. Ryan's got to take a pill. Is that because we've beat this too far? I have to reinstall my printer every month. If I uninstall, reinstall, I get 5 months before I have to reinstall. Anyone know why? Boy, there's a whole lot more that could be behind that. I would be suspicious of a Windows Update instance causing an issue. So then you reinstall your printer driver and get back to the original from the printer manufacturer. And then when Windows Update does an update, it might be updating that printer driver to something that's not working for you. And what is actually going wrong? Why do you have to reinstall it every month? You get a letter in the mail that tells you to reinstall it. I assume there's actually something that's not working right. The printer's not working for some reason, and the solution you have found for it is to reinstall the printer driver. Now, there might be some other way to fix whatever the symptom is, and that coincidentally, reinstalling the driver fixes the actual problem, or there might be a more direct problem that can be fixed. So what is the actual symptom that's happening, and then going after that symptom a different way than reinstalling the printer driver. And when you say reinstall the printer, I'm assuming that means uninstalling the driver in Windows and then reinstalling the driver. You perhaps are unplugging the printer when you're doing that. So there's a whole lot more to that. And Ryan, if you want to do a remote session on that during a live stream, I'm totally game for that, because there's a whole lot more to that. And just based upon what you've told us so far, there is a whole bunch of other possibilities to that scenario.
Hey, Doug.
JPEG. Okay, go ahead, Gary.
A quick question on that one, only because I've had issues with this. One reboot computer, is it a local or a Wi-Fi or a network? Because with network at home, one computer I left up sometimes, and because of whatever reason, they disconnect, and it doesn't find it right away. That can be a problem.
Well, that goes to what I was saying about there's a whole lot more questions to that whole scenario, and you just named one of them.
Yeah, I have an old HP that I haven't thrown out. It's like, when it disconnects, you can't re-find it. It doesn't broadcast. It's out there.
Jose, I saw you move your microphone. Were you wanting to say something?
I
No.
actually gotta get going. Goodbye, guys.
Did you say goodbye, Gary?
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Doug.
Oh, okay. Goodbye.
No, I'm just getting late. Sorry.
All right. All right. We're getting close to done. Jose, your response was at the same time Gary said something. So I don't know if you said yes or no.
No. I was just doing that. I trusted in my mic.
All right. All right. Coming back to chat. And then we're about ready to wind this down and end this. But Wintermute was saying JPEG is lossy. So saving to JPG, then saving that JPG to JPEG is compressing it twice. Could be the difference. Could be something along those lines. I really don't like that word lossy. What in the world does that mean?
Means their compression algorithm loses information.
I would think it would be something along the lines. Now, Jeff, are you saying that by deductive reasoning, or did you look that up?
Well, this is from memory from a while back.
All right.
The JPEG 2000 had an option not to lose information, but they came up with a different compression algorithm that wouldn't lose information and yet make the file smaller. That's what
wouldn't lose information yet. Okay. So if it's lossy, that means it does lose information.
Yes.
Okay, because
it's tried to be done in a way such that you won't notice it with your eye, but you have lost data by compressing.
Okay, but I would expect that. I would expect anytime you do compression, you're losing something. Now,
there
hopefully,
are algorithms where, like JPEG 2000, which do not lose information when they compress. And I'm not the mathematician to tell you why that is or isn't.
Yeah. Now, my earlier understandings of compression is that they'll find repeating sequences of code in the file and essentially create a shorthand for each of those. So you don't actually lose anything. You're just using a shorthand way to define things that repeat over and over. Whereas if you're losing information that is significance, that might be that there's fewer dots within a certain portion of the image.
I'll explain it to you after I go back and get my PhD in mathematics.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't.
Ken, you gave a thumbs up. Is that because you had that same interest in that explanation of lossy? He has a hard time getting to his unmute. Now I see your mouth. Still not hearing you. You're unmuted. Still can't hear you. Now he says, talk to the finger.
That's because I have windows on top of windows on top of windows, and the Zoom window has to be active to hit the space bar. And you also have to have your microphone on for the microphone to work. See?
So complicated.
Well, I'm following in your footsteps, Doug. You're such a good teacher.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. No, the thumbs up was something between Jose and I that no one else caught.
Oh, all right. I gotta go catch up. I'm gonna try to.
Little inside joke.
All right.
I'll go back to muting myself now.
Says one informative stream. As always, thank you. You're welcome, Ryan. I get a message that says driver not available. So when the problem that he gets, I guess he's getting that when he tries to print. Driver not available. Does it identify the driver? And I kind of like to see a photo of that message. But still,
something
Ryan,
from DOS days.
Yeah, Ryan, this is not something that we can accomplish through chat or through email. I would never try to get into answering this through that. My way to deal with that is through remote connection and audible conversation. I've seen many JPG files containing EXIF data. You can see it under Windows 10 by selecting Properties Details in Windows File Explorer. I think I'm burnt out on that for now. Hello, Matthew. I'm doing fine, thank you. The symptom is it says driver not available. When I reinstall it, it works fine. So yeah, again, we're not gonna get to that in chat. I don't think. Sometimes a question might be asked in chat, and we might be able to get right to it, but I think still that's too broad of an environment to deal with that in chat. Lossy loses information. That's what I would have thought that means. But it sounds like when they say such and such format is lossy, that's an appealing thing, that they want that. But no, why would you want that?
It's a trade-off between losing fidelity in the image and saving space.
All right, my brain's fried on that. Now he's saying lossy means that some information is lost in compression. Lossless means no information is lost. Okay, well that's kind of where I was thinking, except that when they say such and such is lossy, the context seems to be that they think that's appealing. So there are lossless algorithms too. JPEG.
I have a question.
Yes, Ken.
If you have lossy, do you have findy?
Oh, geez. Why did I even punch over to show him?
Walked right into that one, didn't you?
Dad! That's the way my daughter responded to dad jokes. Seldom Bell, JPEG discards higher frequency details. PNG, for example, uses lossless compression, preserves higher frequencies. If I dream the word lossless tonight, I'm going to be so regretting addressing this subject. And now he says it's not doing now, probably won't do it anymore for the printer issue. Lossy, smaller file size. File, I thought he was displaying the file header at the top. And not appealing, but rather a necessary evil. I'm not sure what he's referring to there. All right, we're done.
Got a quick question.
Yes, Ken.
You know anything about setting lighting up for my studio? And would you like to get together with Jose and Gemini and figure that out? Gemini as in Jim, not Gemini in the astrological sense of the word Gemini.
You know, one thing that you've asked in the past is about reflections from glasses. And see, right now I'm seeing reflections in your glasses. I don't see as much reflection in my glasses. Do you agree?
I just see the zoom over your icon, so I don't know if you're reflecting or not.
Oh,
I can see reflections in your glasses a little bit, Doug, on the YouTube stream, not in the Zoom.
Yeah, well,
now
Ken,
you
should be seeing a full image of me now.
It depends on the angle.
Yeah, now I think you're seeing less reflection of my computer monitor than what we see from Ken. When Ken looks straight at his computer monitor, I think we see more reflection. I can't even see his pupils when he looks right at his monitor. Well, barely.
Are his eyes starting to glow red?
Yeah, but you can see my eyeballs pretty well when I'm looking right at the camera. Now, Ken, do you have any light in front of you right now?
I don't have any lights on right now. I'm sitting here in dark.
Right.
I can turn them on and see if it makes a difference.
No, let me point out something first. Watch what happens when I look up towards the light that's up there. Got that?
Yeah, can you hold that there for about 2 seconds? I need to get that image. I like that.
My point is, because I have lights up there that overpower my monitor light, the reflection that my glasses are taking is actually going to reflect that light down that way, not to the camera. If I don't have that light on, then my monitor is going to be the brightest thing, and my glasses are going to reflect that right back to my camera. So having a light up above that's coming down at an angle helps with the reflection from your glasses. when you're testing that right now, Ken, when you look down, you're seeing that your glasses are not reflecting. You're muted.
Right. And when I look up to about right here, they're not as bad because I turned on the 2 lights.
Oh, you turned on the lights that are above, so you're seeing that it's not as bad.
Well,
Yeah.
they're not truly above me. One's to my right, one's to my left. And one's about 4 feet above and the other one's about a foot above.
Yeah.
But I want to get lighting.
Even coming from the sides, they're overpowering the amount of light that's coming from your monitor. So they're helping, because if you had a light coming from up that way, I can't move my hands out of frame when I'm pointing. And think of that bouncing off of your glasses. It's not going to go to the camera. And the light coming from that way, it's going to bounce off your glasses and not go to the camera. So if you got light sources that are overpowering the amount of light coming from your monitor, that's going to help reduce the amount of glare from your glasses.
I have a message to pass along from chat to you.
All right.
Alexa, turn off studio lights.
Oh, all right. Alexa, turn off studio lights.
I wanted to see if I could do it.
Well, actually, you might have if you had done that louder. Now, I think that I need to properly test this. I think I need to adjust the camera exposure, because I have that stable on manual. Now the amount of reflection coming from my monitor is very overpowering, and you can't see my eyes. Ken's going away from his desk to somewhere else. And you can also see, without having any lights up there, my face is a bit darker than the background. The amount of light that you see in that closet back there where Big Beast is, that's much brighter than it appears to me here, because the camera has adjusted to show it very bright. So, Ken, you're seeing the amount of reflection off of my monitors now in my glasses? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I know why my smart speaker didn't respond to you, Ken. That's because you're in my headphones. She didn't hear you. She wasn't listening to you.
Makes sense.
All right. Alexa, turn on.
I'm just playing with the lamp right now to see varying
Yes.
effects.
Okay.
That's not bad right there.
I don't know if you caught that. I started to give her the command to turn on the lights, and I got interrupted at the beginning of the word studio. I didn't finish it out. And she asked me, "Did you mean studio lights?" I'd never had that happen before, where she finishes my sentences for me.
She's learning.
That's scary. I have a relationship with my smart speaker to where she will finish my sentences for me. Okay, so Gary said bye to chat. Reflections on both. Ken is worse. I'm assuming that's after I turned off my studio lights. Your room is better than Kenstat Live. Oh, I need to go back and adjust. Actually, I didn't. Oh, I know. I've got my lighting now set on automatic, so it did automatically adjust. Normally what I do is turn off the automatic focus and the automatic exposure, because I don't like it changing and trying to adjust. More specifically, the automatic focus. That's the one that's disturbing to see that. Try to refocus once in a while. You have anti-glare coating on your glasses. No, I don't think so. These glasses were what, like $10 for 5 pair? I don't think I have anti-glare on any special anti-glare on these glasses. Red eye removal tool. I haven't seen any red eye. Why would I do that?
No, he was talking about a remark I made about Ken I was making
Oh.
a joke that he had red eyes from the demon, and so
Oh,
and somebody hooked me to mean there was a red eye just from the video.
oh. Dennis says your science is sound. I'm caught up with chat. We are 2.5 hours. I think this is a good time to put this to bed. Come back to here. So I'm back on Zoom. Do me a favor and say goodbye to the audience, please. Verbally.
Say good night, Gracie.
Goodbye to the audience, please.
Okay.
Bye.
Herding
Thanks,
cats.
Doug. It was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. All right. I'm going to close the Zoom session.
Spaced Out Live, 11 o'clock
Two,
tonight.
one. All right. There you go. Goodbye. And then push this button over here. There's the email address if you want to send me a topic you'd like me to cover or a technical question that I can cover in video. That would be the email address to do it. For those of you who are interested, Dennis and I will be doing the Fortnite stream at 5 p.m. Pacific time. You figure out what time that is in your neck of the woods. And is Josh still around? I don't think I've seen anything from Josh for a while. All right, so never mind that. All right, that's it for now. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Goodbye, everybody.